Adam, a soldier who was part of the mission to capture Venezuela's former president, Nicolas Maduro, has been charged after allegedly winning hundreds of thousands of dollars betting on the operation. What can you tell us?
Yeah, this is quite an extraordinary story. It relates to that military operation right at the start of the year. You probably remember it when Nicolas Maduro, the former Venezuelan leader, was captured. And a US Special Forces soldier who prosecutors say was involved in that military operation has been charged after he allegedly bet that Maduro would be removed from office. And he placed those bets before the operation took place, winning, as he said, over $400,000 US dollars in the process. Now, the soldier's name is Gannon Ken Van Dyke. He's a master sergeant with the US Army Special Forces. And prosecutors say that he was involved in the planning and execution of Maduro's capture. The Department of Justice is alleging that he used the website Polymarket to make those bets, using the classified information that he had access to. And this story is kind of part of a wider issue at the moment of insider trading, particularly related to what has been going on in the Middle East. The White House has been telling staff not to use insider information to place bets on these prediction markets. And there's also been reporting around unusually large trades on oil markets just before major announcements made by President Trump relating to the war. So this certainly feels like an issue that's going to keep cropping up.
Meanwhile, Mexico's president is trying to simmer tensions with the US after 2 CIA officials died in the country. What is the latest?
Yeah, it feels like we talk about this subject quite a lot in terms of the Mexican president and dealing with relations with the United States. The latest flare-up is related to 2 US officials who were killed in a car crash in Mexico on Sunday. It's been reported that they were actually 2 CIA officers who were on their way back from a counter-narcotics operation to destroy illegal drug labs. Now, US involvement in anti-cartel operations on Mexican soil is a very sensitive issue here in Mexico. The president has repeatedly said that she's very open for intelligence sharing, but will not accept US agents or forces taking part in operations on Mexican territory. She's ordered an investigation into exactly what these 2 US officials were doing in Mexico. And she said that neither her or her security team were told about any joint operation that was ongoing. This has caused some tensions in Washington. The White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she said some sympathy for the dead US officials would be well worth it. And in response, Claudia Sheinbaum, the Mexican president, has again reiterated her condolences about what has happened. But really, it's just highlighting again those differences between Mexico and the US right now on so many issues.
And Cubans squeezed by a fuel and energy crisis have faced fewer blackouts. And this is after a recent oil shipment. Tell us more.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to actually bring you some slightly positive news from Cuba, which has had a very difficult few months this year. You might recall a few weeks ago a tanker delivered 700,000 barrels of Russian oil to Cuba. And now finally that oil is starting to benefit people's lives. There have been reports that the number of blackouts has dropped dramatically in the last few days, which is a huge relief for people there who've been suffering from rolling blackouts for a number of months. Unfortunately, though, the positive news does end there because Cuba's energy minister said that this boost to the country's oil supplies is only going to be short-lived because they only have a few more days left from that Russian oil delivery. Russia said it's going to send another tanker, but that tanker has yet to depart from Russia. So we know the US is putting plenty of pressure on Cuba. We understand there have been talks between the Cuban government and Trump officials in the last few days, but certainly at least something positive to say from Cuba, which has really been having a torrid time over the last few months.